Welcome back, dummies. Well, football season kicks off in merely hours, so that means for the next 5 months, I will be completely emotionally unstable. You have been warned. As we head into our first game against Russ's old team, the Broncos narrowed down their roster from 90 to 53. Now, I got a couple of questions on how these cuts work, what's sort of the deal with the injured reserve list and the practice squad, and also what my opinions were of the final roster that we got. And we all know, I got opinions. They're never usually right, but I got them. So let's go. During the NFL offseason, each team has a total of 90 players that are accumulated from the draft or free agency, or another way that I have no idea how. They just pop up. This is then dwindled down to the 53 allotted for each NFL team. Now, some of these players were cut altogether, some of these players were put on the injured reserve list, and some of these players were put on the practice squad. So, what is a practice squad? Well, it is the squad that practices. That is all I have for you today. I'm talking, but seriously, that is their role. It's a group of 16, no more than 16, that study the future opponent's plays, and then they play the role of the upcoming opponent in practices. While you're on the practice squad, the idea is to assist the active roster while also honing in on your skills so that you may too one day make that active roster for the Denver Broncos, Super Bowl winning Broncos, Denver Mile High Super Bowl winning Denver Broncos. Now, this practice squad, they do have a shot to play on the active roster during the season. So typically, players are activated from the practice squad to the roster due to an injury at a particular position. But once a player has been activated to the roster 3 times, you gotta sign him to the actual roster because your boy ain't gonna play if he ain't gonna get paid. That almost worked. So we have the active roster, the practice squad, and then what about the injured reserve? So obviously it's guys that are injured. But when a player is added to the injured reserve, this is more for long-term injuries. They must miss a minimum of 4 games before they can play again. From what I understand, the NFL does this so a team can't put like 26 players on IR and then just keep them stashed there and then just take them on and off when they want. But once a player is cleared to play again or has missed 4 games, they can get back on the roster. But that means either A, a guy on the roster's gotta go, or B, a guy on the practice squad's gotta go. This is the round-the-clock drama that I am here for. Just keeps everything a little bit spicy. And we like a little spice here in Dummies headquarters. Dummies headquarters. Sounds so official, I love it. Now that you have a little more of an idea of how the roster works, practice squad, all that good stuff, the question on everyone's mind, what's my opinion of all this? I know you guys are just dying to know. Biggest upset, Kendall Hinton not making the active roster. He did sign on to the practice squad, but it's not good enough for me. And this is where a typical football analyst would probably pull up Hinton's stats from last year preseason and sort of lay out, you know, the yards he's got and speed and something about his weight. I don't know. But if you don't know by now, I am nowhere near a typical football analyst, and this is all going off of pure emotion. And honestly, how dare you, Denver Broncos? Hinton deserved this shot. This Hall of Famer quarterback turned wide receiver turned quarterback turned wide receiver gave it his all in that infamous 2020 no QB to be found game. And I believe he deserved at least 3 years on the active roster with the Broncos as a thank you for that. So Hinton, I'm rooting for you. This is not over yet if I have anything to say about it. And I have something to say. Hinton, I love you. Thank you for being you. Player I'm most excited for? Well, besides my usual Javante Bay, who will have a phenomenal season this year, I am really excited for Montreal Washington. He was a 5th round draft pick this year. And get this, he didn't even think he was going to be drafted. I mean, he's the 8th person from his college, Stanford University, to be drafted to the NFL in the school's history. And I don't know how many years that school's history is, but I'm sure it's a lot of years. Education is timeless, right? He was originally drafted to just be our punt returner, but he showed so much potential at training camp and at preseason that they might give him more of a center role as a wide receiver. This guy is the rookie to watch. You heard it here first, folks. And biggest surprise, this guy. I guess he's our new quarterback. I wasn't expecting that. Let's rock. Let's rock. Other than that, the roster makes sense to me. And when I say makes sense to me, I mean, I actually have no idea what I'm looking at. We got a nice mix of safeties, you know, defensive linemen, wide receivers, and looks to me like the perfect recipe for a Super Bowl winning team. That's what I see on this roster. That is all I have for you today, dummies. Kickoff this Monday, the Seahawks. I am amped. I cannot wait. No, I cannot. What player is your biggest upset? Who are you most excited for? And what was your biggest surprise? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, go Broncos. Let's run. Let's run. He says it more smooth. Let's run. Let's run. God.